Siblings of the golden child. When did your parents' favoritism come back to bite them? My older sister Emma was always the perfect daughter in my parents' eyes. From the day I was born, I lived in her shadow. Emma got straight A's, was captain of the debate team, and volunteered at the local animal shelter. I struggled with school, preferred video games to extracurriculars, and was constantly compared to her. Why can't you be more like your sister? Became the soundtrack of my childhood. When Emma got accepted to an Ivy League school, my parents threw her a massive party and gifted her a brand new car. When I entered a good state college 2 years later, they nodded, noting their savings went to Emma and I needed loans. The favoritism continued into our 20s. Emma got married to a guy named Robert who came from money. My parents paid for a lavish wedding that cost over $50,000. When I announced my engagement a year later, they said they couldn't contribute more than $5,000. I swallowed my pride again and had a small ceremony that I mostly paid for myself. But things started to change when Emma and Robert had their first child. My parents immediately quit their jobs, sold their house, and moved across the country to be closer to their precious grandchild. They bought a new home just 10 minutes from Emma's, using their entire retirement fund as a down payment. They became full-time, unpaid babysitters, while Emma continued her high-powered career. Meanwhile, I was struggling with fertility issues, something my mother dismissed as probably stress from working too hard. The real turning point came 3 years later. Emma called me in tears one night, confessing that Robert had been cheating on her with his assistant for over a year. She was devastated, but determined to make the marriage work for their daughter's sake. I supported her decision, though I had my doubts. 6 months later, Emma discovered Robert had emptied their joint accounts and disappeared. He'd been embezzling from his company and fled the country when an audit was announced. Emma was left with a mountain of debt, a 3-year-old daughter, and our parents who were now completely financially dependent on her. She called me hysterical, admitting she couldn't handle the pressure. My parents had put everything into Emma's perfect life, and now that life was crumbling. I flew out to visit them, expecting to help temporarily. What I found was shocking. Their beautiful new house was in foreclosure. My mother had developed severe anxiety that required medication they couldn't afford. My father looked 20 years older, broken by the financial ruin. Emma was working 3 jobs while my parents watched her daughter. They'd never saved for this kind of emergency because Emma was supposed to be their retirement plan. When I sat down with them to review their finances, my father broke down sobbing, admitting they'd taken out a second mortgage to invest in Robert's foolproof business opportunity right before he disappeared. They owed over $300,000 with no way to pay it back. That's when I revealed what I'd been hiding for years. While working my way through college, I'd started a small tech company that had recently been acquired for millions. I'd kept it quiet, partly out of pride and partly because I wanted to succeed without their validation. I paid off their debts, bought them a modest but comfortable home, and set up a trust for my niece's education. My mother finally looked at me with the same pride she'd always reserved for Emma. "We were wrong about you," she whispered. "We put everything into the wrong daughter." Those words should have felt vindicating, but they just made me sad. It took complete financial ruin for them to see my worth. I didn't abandon them like they had essentially done to me, but I did make one thing clear. Their relationship with me would be on my terms now, not theirs. The golden child's pedestal had crumbled, and with it, decades of favoritism that had blinded them to the strength of the child they'd overlooked.